What up, everybody? It's your boy DMV with the Commute. It is about like around 5:30ish in the DC area. As a matter of fact, I am on the Virginia side of things, and I am excited to talk about this topic because I've been talking about it since this morning, since I woke up. I'm in a Cowboys group, actually, on Facebook, and we've been going back and forth about Kyler Murray as the number one overall pick. And it looks like the Arizona Cardinals are very well thinking about taking Kyler Murray at the number one pick. So I kind of wanted to talk about it because, I mean, as I dive into some prospects and stuff right now, the guy that really jumps out at me as the number one player in the draft is Nick Bosa. Sorry, not to confuse him with his brother, but Nick Bosa really jumps out at me. So, over and over, we always hear the argument, quarterback opposed to best player, quarterback opposed to best player. You always take the quarterback, you always take the quarterback. That's just what's drilled in our heads, and it's been drilled in our heads. But I posed the question, like, would you take Kyler Murray over Nick Bosa at this point if you're the Cardinals? And, as I seen the article come out today that Josh Rosen is on the trading block, Josh Rosen's on the trading block. Kyler Murray is definitely looking like, if that is true, it's looking like he might be the number one overall pick. But then I've heard that there were negative reviews about him, at the combine. So as far as his interviewing, I saw something that said that he was bad at studying, he's bad on the board, all of that type of stuff. So, for me, personally, if I had to choose between those two guys, and somebody just said it, Quentin Williams is definitely in there as well. As far as the Cardinals go, I would personally take Nick Bosa. No, you don't always take the quarterback. You take the quarterback when the situation makes sense. And a quarterback is not going to save Arizona at this point. It's not going to save them. It didn't save them last year. They need to build that roster. That's what their problem is. Now, look at it this way. Everybody wants to compare this kid to, you want to compare him to Watson. You want to compare him to Mahomes. You want to compare him to Russell Wilson. But understand the thing that I say about these three guys. Those three guys walked into really good situations. They walked into playoff situations. All right? So that's just the way that I look at it. Russell Wilson. Seattle was just coming off a playoff win. You guys remember that run with Marshawn Lynch going down the field? Russell Wilson joined that team, that roster. That roster was ready to go. They were just young, and they needed to experience that playoff win that they got. And Russell kind of walked into a situation where he could pretty much be the bus driver until he was ready to become the Russell that we see right now. Mahomes had the city year. He sat a year behind Alex Smith. They made the playoffs. And the Chiefs had been making the playoffs, and Alex Smith had been winning. So, and not only to mention, Mahomes walked into the quarterback guru. He walked into a really good situation that allowed him to win. Watson was on the playoff team, the Houston Texans. All they were missing was a quarterback. See, understand the Arizona Cardinals are missing a lot more than that. This is not a playoff team. This is not a playoff roster that he'd be going to. So you'd be setting up your quarterback to fail. Understand that. Understand that Arizona needs a lot more than what they have. So that's why I wouldn't take the quarterback there. I wouldn't take him, not him, because no matter what anybody wants to say, and I'm not huge on the height thing I'm not really huge on the height thing, but keep in mind, a lot of people like him for what he can do with the RPO system. So you just going to run the RPO the entire game? You're going to keep him in gun the entire game? Like, there's so many questions, and you should not have questions when it's your number one pick overall. Now, if they want to trade back with the Raiders at number 4, if the Raiders don't want a quarterback, which they probably don't, with Carr being, their guy, and they're locked in with Derek Carr. That's cool. So if Oakland at number 4 decides, you know, well, we really like Bosa. We want to get Bosa at number 1. All right, cool. If you trade back to number 4, then you Kyler Murray. That makes all of the sense in the world. And then you can probably obtain another pick somewhere down the line to help build your roster, because you're going to need that other pick. That other pick will help you. Because, see, if that happens and they offer you one of their other number 1s later on in the draft, you can pick up a lineman to kind of help you there. Then you help the draft pick. But right now, as it sits, Kyler Murray going to the Arizona Cardinals doesn't solve any issues, all right? So let me see what anybody is saying. Let's see. X Factor says, hi DMV. I know it's been a while since we've talked, but thoughts on Tank? Hopefully the Cowboys get a deal done with him. To be honest with you, man, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm thinking that, you know, there's the possibility that Tank might not be here long term. There is that possibility. I've been thinking about it because I don't know if, yes, we have money right now, but I don't know if the Cowboys have enough to where they can mortgage the future on 4 big deals. And by 4 big deals, I mean Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott, Amari Cooper. And then you're talking about Tank, who wants to be the highest paid pass rusher in the league. Rightfully so. But if you do that, understand that you'll be in that situation that you were in a couple years ago where you're robbing Peter to pay Paul as far as the salary cap goes. So I think at some point you're going to have to make a decision on who's most important. And I had this discussion with a couple people earlier today. You know, I asked the question, who's more important, Zeke or Tank? Because that's what it comes down to. Because I don't think you're going to be able to keep both. I really don't think you're going to be able to keep both. If you do, you're really going to be strapped for cash come the future. And that's really, really risky, being that Zeke is a running back, 1, and 2, Tank has had so many surgeries over the years. So, I mean, it's a given that you're going to sign Dak and Cooper. So, it's a given you're going to sign Dak and Cooper. I mean, people can say whatever they want. They can not like Dak or whatever. Like, quarterbacks don't grow on trees. Like, it's really hard to get a quarterback in this league, and it's really hard to get one that wins games. So no matter what you think about Dak, how inaccurate he is or whatever, like, keep in mind, you guys are so close to the situation, you don't understand. When you look at other teams, they'd be dying for a Dak Prescott. If Arizona knew that they could get a Dak Prescott in this draft, they would get him. Trust me. Like, I don't think Jerry Jones was too far off the rocker when he said that Dak Prescott, he would take him number 1 in this draft, because I don't think this is a strong quarterback class. And saying that, like, it goes back to the number 1 argument about you know, Bosa versus Murray. This is such a weak quarterback class that I don't think Kyler Murray is a generational type player to where you can't miss if you miss this draft. If you suck next year, you're in a better situation with quarterbacks. And if you suck the following year, you got the Lawrence sweepstakes. There are much better quarterbacks that are going to come out in these next couple years that you're going to forget about Kyler Murray. That's just how I feel about the situation. But Nick Bosa, I think that if you pass up on him, you're going to wish that you didn't. Quentin Williams, if you pass up on him, you're going to wish you didn't. Trust me. Like, I understand what the quarterback position means to a roster. I understand it. I'm just saying I don't think that this is the draft that you need to go ahead and get that quarterback. That's just how I feel about it. And people think differently. And, you know, quarterbacks prove me wrong all the time. It happens. It has happened. To be honest with you, I wasn't huge on Cam Newton number 1 overall, but Carolina was. And if I'm Arizona and that's the guy that you want to get, I feel like your quarterback, you have to be very confident in him. If that's who you're going to go get. If that's who you're going to go get him. That's who you're going to get. That's who you're going to be stuck with. That's who you're going to try and build. But I also look at it this way. If I'm Kyler Murray and I'm going into the situation, and they want to take me number one overall. Understand that they went up and got Rosen last year because they felt that strongly about him. And I do know that it's a different coaching staff, so it's different philosophy and all of that type of stuff. I understand that. But whatever happened to developing your guys? Whatever happened to, I draft a guy and I'm going to build around him? They didn't give Rosen a chance. And have we become an NFL, have we become a fan base, or have we become fans, or has the game changed so much that you have to hit in the first year or you're garbage? And now all of a sudden you're on the trade block? I mean, I really don't understand. I mean, I understand that the coach wants his guy, and that's cool. That's cool. That's all fine and dandy. But, man, it's a cutthroat business. And at this point, instead of allowing this young guy to develop that's very talented, that very well could turn into that Brett Favre type guy. When I say Brett Favre type guy, remember the Falcons traded him, and look what he turned out to be with the Packers. So, I mean, you can look at it. You can look at it both ways, but if I'm Arizona, you just have to be comfortable with your decision. All right, so let me look at some more things. Joseph Sandberg said, right, if you don't build around the franchise QB and give some time or otherwise, they will be picking around this high again. Keith Parrish says, I don't really care about the Cardinals. I'm a Cowboys fan. That's fine, Keith. You don't have to care about the Cardinals. But it's just a draft question. It was just something that I was thinking out loud. Like, Kathy said, hi, hey, DMV. Keith said Cooper, Zeke, and Tank. Sandberg says, in another theory, Lee and Crawford contract runs out next year. Kathy says, they say Tank needs surgery now. Keith said maybe Dallas will get Rosen. I was kind of getting towards that, I was kind of getting towards that. Not necessarily, I mean, look at it this way. Because I've heard that the highest that since him being on the trade block, the highest that they've gotten an offer for is a third. I think you could get that's a steal getting Rosen for a third round pick. I know we wouldn't get him because we don't get a deal when it comes to things like this. But that's a way to think about things. You know what I mean? Like, if they're so desperate, they become desperate to the point that they're trying to get rid of him. It's a bargain sale in this draft day. And, I mean, I do want pick number 90. But, man, quarterbacks don't come like that. And I believe Rosen's going to be a really good quarterback. I still think that. To this day, I don't think they were wrong. I just think that he has some rookie growing pains, and apparently you can't have those anymore. So, it is what it is, and better the Cardinals than us. But tomorrow, me and my boy Elton, we will be diving into defensive tackles, which is very, very exciting because we're gonna have a chance to get somebody that can help us in the areas that we are, that we're struggling in. We didn't, when I say struggling, I mean in that playoff game, man, we just looked like we were just, like they were just pushing the sled all day up front. So we got to find a way to get us a nasty 1 or 3 technique that is just nasty. Like, I don't know another way to say it, but we got to find a way to get us a guy that at least at pick 58 that could come in and just be an absolute, upgrade from what we have. I think we have some good guys right now. I think they built some depth, but I think that we can do better. And I know we can do better. I know we can do better at that position. I know the positions we can do better at. We can do better at defensive tackle. We can do better at safety for certain. All right. But I'm home now, so I'm going to make sure that I go prep for the show tomorrow. Make sure you guys tune in, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, around that time. I know last week I had a little bit of difficulty with connection, but we finally got on, and we had a pretty good show, so make sure you guys tune in. So far we have done, if you haven't tuned in and you're not familiar, so far me and Elton on Wednesdays, we dived into specific needs for the Cowboys. So we talked about we talked about tight ends, we talked about running backs, and we talked about safety so far. So go back and watch those shows because they were really good informative shows with notes and everything. And then tomorrow we're gonna do D tackles. But all right, guys, thanks for tuning in and helping me get through this commute.